everyone. Hello, and welcome to another session and Persian Power BI user group. This is the session 3 for the Mastering Power Query Learning series. We have Omid here. Hey, Omid, how are you, mate?
Hi, Vai.
Everything good, mate? How's everything?
Yeah, actually, after a month's pause, I'm happy that I come back and you are here with amazing tips about grouping, about merging and
Yeah.
appending.
Yeah, we had two sessions for those people watching this video for the first time. This is the third session of the Mastering Power Query learning series. We had two sessions before, one for extract and combine from Excel files. Omid shared many tips and tricks how we can extract the information from Excel files in a better way. And then we had another session, I think 1 month ago, about tips for grouping, and this is the third session. And he wants to show us some tips and tricks how we can merging the tables in Power Query. We have a plan to hold these sessions for this Power Query learning series two times a month. So there was a pause because Omid was away. He had a travel plan, but he's back. So we will start. We have this session in August. We will have another at the end of August, and then two sessions in September. We plan around 8 to 10 sessions for the first phase of this learning series to see that to get some feedback from you. So feel free to share your comments. Send us a message on on LinkedIn or on Twitter or X. So, and we will read those comments and we'll take action to add more sessions here. Or if there is a subject you want us to arrange a meeting for that one, feel free to raise that in the comment section under this video. I need to add that for the previous videos, people asked me to add the sample file to be able to follow the video. So I asked Omid, and he added those files into the GitHub. So I added the link of the GitHub in the description of those videos. And let's start this session, mate. I can't wait. So over to you. Let me just bring your screen here and let's go.
Okay, before starting, right, I want to explain that today's session is different because today we are going to working with multiple tables. In the real world, you face with lots of tables that you have to combine them. Sometimes you need to put them under each other as a append, and sometimes you need to extract some feature from one table to another and use it to another table by merging. But before starting, I want to mention that follow my LinkedIn because these examples, most of them came from challenge that I share in LinkedIn. Here I am going to talk about one or two solutions, but you can find a wide variety of solutions for each example that I'm going to talk here. So do you have my screen?
Yeah, I can see your screen, and we let me just that's okay. I can change it now. Let me change it to make it bigger. I will cut off my camera, only you and the screen because I want to make the screen bigger. So let me do it now.
Okay. Here I'm going to talk about a small example to be more clear, but in reality, you will definitely face with larger tables. I provided several examples based on the time we are going to talk about most of them. In the first example, we have three tables, each for different years. The first one is related to 2021, 2022 is presented in the second one, and 2023 is presented in the third one. And you need to combine them. You need to put them under each other and provide a complete tables. To do this and put some tables, some information from one table under another table, you need to use append queries. This is the append queries. You can use it to append queries on this table and put another data under this table, or you can use append query as a new to provide a new table. So let's select this one. By selecting append query as a new, you can see these settings. To append two tables, you can put it here, but you can change it also to 3 or more tables, no matter the number of tables. But be careful about the column title, because if these column title be different in different files, it cannot put under each other and it provide you another column. Let's check it in an example and select append query as a new and pick this one and select these three tables, for example one, and add it here. I picked this one twice, so let's remove it here. We have these two tables and we want to append under each other. By pressing OK, the result table would be like this, including all the info for three tables, 2021, 2022, and 2023. The result of this append is this function, Table.Combine. You can use it directly by writing the list of tables inside a list. And there is also second parameter for this function. You can write it in a list your desired column. Sometimes you need just a specific column. Maybe you need just year and sales. You can write it here, year and sales. Again, be careful about lowercase and uppercase and press. Now the result would be limited to these two columns, year and sales. But let's back to the question and change this column to the lowercase year and check what happened. Again, I'm going to use, let's check this one. Here, we do not have the info for 2022. Let's check it append as a new query again. Select this one, pick these three table and add it here. Let's remove this one here. By pressing OK, see there is a column in the lowercase year, including these two values, and there is a column in uppercase Y in year. There is a null for these two rows because in 2021, the name of column is lowercase, but here this is uppercase and it includes the rest of data for others tables. So in append, just be careful about the column title. The others is easy. You can just select the append. There is also operation for combining table and putting under each other. Instead of using this function, you can directly write it and use ampersand operation. Say, right, this table and this table and this table. I'm pressing enter. The result is no difference. This is easiest way, but in this way, you cannot easily select your desired column. It's a little bit tricky. It was the first example for appending. The other examples are related to merging. In merging, you face with a question, you face with a problem that there are two different tables. Some information provided in the first table, the other information provided in the second table, and there is a column that matches these two tables. For example, product ID. And you need to extract some info from second table and put it beside the columns in the first table. This is the merge process. Here we have the historical sales data. For different dates, we know the product name and the sold quantity. And in the second table, we have the name of product and the price. We need to merge these two tables and add the price value here to calculate the other parameters, benefit and these things. To extract the price from this table and put it in a new column here, you need to merge these two tables. In real world, you have two choices. You can load these data into data model, into Power Pivot, and use relationship there, or you can do it here. It's depend on the condition. There is no general solution, general answer to which one is better. It's really dependent on the situation, but sometimes you need to do it in the Power Query. To do the merge inside the Power Query, select your tables and pick the merge queries. Like the append, you can also pick merge query as a new. It leads to new query like this, leads to new table here, but this one do the process on this table. Let's select this one because there are lots of query here, there are lots of table here, and it become more messy. This is this table example to sales data. Here we should select from which table we want to extract the price info. And we know that example 2 info, so select example 2 info here, and this is the sales data, this is the price info. These two tables should be connected based on one or more column. Here we know that we want to extract the price of this product and put it here. So the common column is product. Let's select it from this table and this table again. It means that merge these two tables based on this column and put the value of product A in the next column after quantity here. In some situation, you can merge based on 2 or 3 columns. Imagine the product ID included 2 parts in 2 separate columns. You can hold control and pick product first and quantity, for example, second. Here you can also select the same with the same order. But in this example, we just need to select one column. So it's going to merge based on these columns. After the tables, you can pick the kind of join or kind of merging. There are 6 common merge kind that I'm going to talk about it completely later. This is a fuzzy matching that I will also talk about it later. And here it's mentioned that out of 5 rows in the main table, just 3 of them are matched. See, we have different product here and here. Some of them are inside this table, which is not in the second table, and reverse. I make it by purpose because I'm going to talk about this situation on different mesh. But here, let's go to the next step and then come back and talk about it. By pressing OK, new step will add it to the steps. These are the nested tables. If you see for the first one, the related rows in the info table here, A with price 100 is provided here. For this one, the same thing happened. B with price 150 is provided here. Now I can extract the price column from this column and use it for other analysis by using this expand button, selecting just price because I do not need product name again. If you check this one, by pressing OK in the new column, this text example 2 info will be added before the price, but I do not need it. So let's uncheck it and press OK. For those rows which are in the info table, the price are extracted. For the other rows, the null value will be reported. If back to the merge query, you can change these join kind. Let's put it on the another one, such as full after join, and press OK. By pressing OK, see another row will be added to the table, which is null for this column, but there are different records for this table. These rows related to the product that are inside the info table, but are not inside the sales table. If I want to talk about different merge scenario, we have these 6 merge scenario. This is the left table or upper table. This is the right or bottom table. We have six products totally. A and B, which is here, are common in both the table. Here we have A and B. Here we have also A and B. But C and D just being the first table, C and D, and E and F being the second table. Based on the join kind, you will reach different results. If you select the left order, what I selected in the first example, the result would be like this. It includes all the rows in the first table or left side table. If you select right order, it includes all the products which are in the right table or bottom table. See, this result is include A and B and product E and F. It doesn't include these two rows because we select right order. If you select inner join, in this kind, you will reach all the rows, all the products which are in both the table, in the left table as well as right table. So it includes the rows related to product A and B. In the full outer, you will reach all the records related to the left table as well as right table. So it's the largest table that you can reach. There are also two left anti and right anti that usually we are going to use when we want to determine which rows are in the first table and is not in, and are not in the second table. In this one, we have the result related to product C and D, and here we have the result of product E and F. So come back to the example. We have another one here. This is the info of product like the previous one. And this is the historical sales value. But there is a problem. In this case, in the product ID, in the sales value, we have some number after the product ID.
Sorry, Omid. Sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt you. Before you move to the next phase, there is a question in the chat. Christian asked that one, and that is what will happen if there is any duplication in the EX2 info table? Imagine rather than if you select the EX2 info table for you using the previous one, then there are, for example, rather than 1A, 1B, there are two prices for A. What will be happen then?
yeah, I have an example exactly for this question. So let's go to that question and come back to the fuzzy image now.
Perfect.
See,
Thank you so
this
much.
is the condition that explained here. We have some customer ID and we have info here, but customer ID is repeated several times. For example, this customer ID repeated twice, and here we want to use the info related to the state of customer ID. It's a little bit different than previous example. We have historical sales data, and we want to calculate the state of the how much we sold in different states. But the problem is that the state of customer is changed during the time. For example, customer 2 between these two days was in New South Wales, but after some time it moved to the Western Australia. So the transaction for this customer during this date should be considered as a sold to the Western Australia, but during this due date, it should be considered as a sold to the New South Wales. So let's check it, what will happen here. I'm going to select this table and use merge query. This is example 5 sales table, and I should merge it by example 5 info table. So select this one. Here we have customer ID here and customer ID here. See, in this example, because the info, the second table include all the customer ID, it's mentioned that out of 23 rows in the first table, 23 rows are matching. But there is a question. Here C2 is repeated twice, C3 repeated 3 times. What happened to these two data? If I press OK, you can see that this is a table as the same as previous one. But for the C2, it provided both the rows. And if you check the info table, C2 repeated twice. So here, after merging, both the rows are provided here. It's depend on your question. Here, we just need one of them. But in your case, maybe you need both of them. You need two combination of these two. But here, we need one of them, and I will talk about it. If you go and expand this column, you will receive this row will repeat it twice, one for this row and another time for this row. Let's expand it. We have 40 here, and this second one is 31. By expanding this, you have 40 twice. This row repeated twice, and one considered for New South Wales and one considered for Western Australia, and it provides the right result. So let's back to the case. Yeah, and for C3, we have more than two rows. We have four rows. Check this table. For C3, we have one, two, three, four. Its state is changed four times. And if you go to expand these C3 tables, all these value consider four times, one for each state. And it's provided right result. What should we do in such situation? I provided two different solutions. Once, let's continue this merge process. Another one, I'm going to use cross section. Here we have this table, but for this table, we should check every rows with this transaction date. And we should pick the rows which this date we included this transaction date. Here we have 31/8 of 2023. So 31/8, it should be considered for new software. The other rows should be removed. How we can do it? We can do and clean these nested table. Let's do the easiest way by adding custom function. Here I'm going to write it's exactly equal to this table and press OK. No, nothing changed. This one is four rows and this one is four rows. But I can change it and filter it this nested table. See, this one is a nested table for this row. This is exactly this table, including four rows. I want to filter it. How to filter it? If you go to filter a table here, you can see the code here. It's going to use table.select rows. You can copy and paste it and use this term, or you can write it directly. It's not hard. So let's write it directly. You can select table.select rows. This is the function which is used in Power Query for filtering. Which rows of this table I want to filter it? If you see, let's back to filtering. Let's filter this one. Generally, in filtering, you are going to use each terminal. The Power Query going to use each terminology. But here there is a problem. One each is used, and you cannot use it again. So you cannot write it here like this: table.select rows and write each underline and others, because there is a each underline before these formula. We are going to talk about each underline in one session completely. So just neglected the tips of here. I'm going to use something like this. This is a custom function. I define this variable as an input. So for this table, which rows I want to filter, I write it X. Let's copy and paste it. See, this column include this table include column namely from. So I want to filter those rows which this column value be lower than this date. I want to filter all the rows which this date be lower than transaction date. So for writing this, I paste the formula, I write from here, the value on from in this table because I define this variable here. Be lower than transaction date. Here is the transaction date and press enter. Now for this T3, we have 4 rows here, but here we just have 1 row. And for this C3, here we have 4 rows. Here we have 1 row. Later, maybe this time, we have 4 rows here. We have 3 rows here. Why? Because out of these 4 rows, this is the transaction date, 14th of January. Just these 3 row be smaller than this transaction date. And this row, this value be larger than this value. So these 3 value will be filtered. What?
Sorry, Omid.
Yeah.
This is fantastic, mate. I love it. Is it possible to review that formula you wrote there, that add
Yeah.
custom again? Just explain it again. That would be great, mate. So you're
Yeah.
using the table select rows to
Yeah.
set the filter there.
Yeah. I'm going to explain it that part related to each underline here to
Okay.
clarify. See, if you write it here, filter this value, it's going to generate this code, each and
Correct.
these value. You can replace this one by some variable like this. These have the same definition and write
Okay.
x here. Nothing changed. See, the result will be
Yeah,
the
nothing
same,
changed.
but this
It's
is
like
the
creating variables. Let's say this is the x, you x this is this one, just using that one. Okay,
yeah,
got it.
yeah. But here we have we use it once in complex formula. You cannot use it each underline several times inside each
Several
underline
times. Yeah.
because each a kind of custom function with reserved variable name. Its variable name is underline. If you use it again here, PowerQuery will not know which underline are related to this each and which one is related to this each. So it's become complicated and make
Complicated.
error.
Right. Okay.
I use X for variable for one table, X related to this table, each related to this table.
Okay.
So it
Yeah.
is clear exactly for the
Yeah.
power query. So back to
Got it.
the formula. We have this formula, table.select rows is easy to use. It receives 2 input, 2 arguments. The first one is the name of table. Here is the name of table. The value on this column, example 5, is in format, is it type table. So this input value would be every this table. For example, for this one, we use this table. For this one, we use this table. But for this one, we use this table. So for the selected table, it's mentioned that filter those, the value on the column from, the value on this column be lower than the value on column date, the value on this column. So this is the 31/8/2023. Which rows the value be lower than this? This is the lower than this, but this one is not lower than. So it's going to filter just this and select this row. The other rows will be removed. For another table, for going down, yeah. For this one, it's going to filter those rows which values on the column from be lower than 14th of January. This is less than 14th of January 2024. This is less than 14th of January 2024. This is also less than. So these 3 would be selected, but this one is larger than 14th of January 2024. So it will be removed. And in the result table, we have these 3. But we do not complete the formula yet because here we also have 3 rows. And we need to select the last one. See, the last value be less than these include this date. The others are not included. For example, for this row, this is between 3rd of January 2024 and 12th of February 2024. It includes these dates. So we need the last row. For the others, this is exactly the same. So here from filter table, we just need the last row. So let's add another function here, table dot last, and press, sorry, at the end, table dot last, yeah, table dot select rows, and yeah, let's press enter to be more clear. Yeah, I just use table.last to extract the last value on the table. Here, by pressing OK, it's changed to the record. No matters because table.last extract just one rows and its result would be always record. If you want to work with table, you can use table.last and put one at the end of value. But there is no difference. See? Here, always be one row, always be the last row of selected or filtered table. The previous one also the same. Let's do with the table.last. Okay, we have record here and it's become too easy. Record is exactly equal to one row of table. So let's check it for several dates. Here we have C3 including 4 rows and these days 31 of 8. It should be considered as a new software. So let's check the record. It's exactly new software. For this one, it's in 23rd of 10th, 23rd of 10th. It's exactly in this day between first of between these two dates. So it should be also considered as a new software. It is exactly new software. What if I go a little bit lower for these 26 knots? Yeah, here. 14th of January, it's become between these two dates. It's become also new software again. So let's select it. Yeah, it's new software. Let's go at the end. Yeah, it will be 27th of 4th. It's become between these two dates, and Queensland QLD should be considered as a result. So here we have QLD. So it's going to work for all the rows. And now we can expand this column by selecting estates and pressing OK. Mean we have the estate and you can easily calculate the sales per estate based on previous session, based on grouping. Let's use it here also. You can group it, say total quality, and pick sum of column quantity, total quantity, sorry, quantity, yeah, and press OK. It's resulting. So in the case that info table include more than one product or one estate or one customer repeated more than once, you need to use conditional match, like what I presented. But in another solution, you can also do it without using these steps, without using these merge steps. How? Let's duplicate it. Actually, it's almost the same, but let's remove these step, this step, and also this step. Here, we are here. I can go and add a new column, namely, let's call it state or info. Yeah, it will be. I can write exactly the name of this table, EX5 underline info. Is it? It's, yeah. So it resulted the whole info table. In previous solution, after merging, it just included the data related to this customer, but here it includes all the data. It no matter the customer name. What we did in the previous example, we added another example, another column, and filter it for just it. We can use the same logic, we can use the same function with two filter criteria, one for date, another for customer ID. So we can go here and add new column, namely filtered table, and use select table.select row, select rows. Yeah, let's remove this part. Like the previous one, use this column as the first input, use x as a variable, and write here x from be lower than date. Here, this is the condition that we use it in the previous example. See here, it provides the rows for all the customer, but we just need the rows related to the customer presented here. So add and say x customer ID. I think is it customer ID? Yeah, yeah. X customer ID be equal to exactly underline customer ID. See here, we have two customer ID, one here, one here. We present this table by variable x. X means table x column customer ID. And we present this table by underline because this table represent by this each. So we use it underline customer ID. These related to this value and these related to this value in this table. I think we have extra, yeah, yeah. So press OK, it results in table, but just related to these customer ID. Now, the same as previous example, you can add table.last and do the rest as the same. So back to the fuzzy merge. This is another amazing feature of merging in Power Query. You can use it, those who work with Excel, they know VLOOKUP. In VLOOKUP, you have two different lookup. One exact match. In the exact match, all the values should be exactly the same. But there is also approximate match. In the approximate match, there is a logic that assume your data is sorted based on searching column. But the fuzzy logic for merging can be considered something different than these two. And you can use it when you are facing with messy database. But be careful about it because sometimes it might be provide result different than your expectation. Let's check it here. We have date, product ID, quantity. In this table, at the end of product ID, the number is entered. This number presents the color code of that product, the sold product. In reality, I prefer to separate this color code and use mesh based on pure product ID. But here, I just want to use this example for talking about fuzzy merge. Compared to info table, there is no color ID here. So by merging these two tables, let's merge them. Select this product ID here and also example for info and this product ID here. You will result in none of the match rows because none of these rows be exactly the same as this value. One tip that I forget to mention, in merge, be careful because the type of this column, the match column should be exactly the same and lowercase and uppercase should be also considered because it's case sensitive. Here, the problem is more than uppercase and lowercase. The problem is these end numbers. So we can use fuzzy matching. By using fuzzy matching, it's going to use its logic. It's a kind of fuzzy nutcase and provide the matching item. It's mentioned that out of 11, 10 are matched. And here, there are some parameters for matching. You can set these parameters and change them. These similarity threshold, you can put number between 0 and 1. You can write something like 8 by putting, you can also use larger than 1 also, but any larger values like these 90, it provide more sensitive. You can also write 0. In this case, the result is not changed, but in some case, its impact directly on the result. There is also in ignore case and this setting that based on the result, it might be helpful for your case. But in this case, I check all the conditions. The result do not change. By pressing OK, you can see that this table, let's expand it here. You can see that there for this product ID, it exactly provide the right product ID for this one also, for this one also, but for this one, which include two number at the end, it couldn't match this product ID with any product ID in info table. We have it PNX here, but it couldn't match. So based on condition, fuzzy merge might be helpful, but be careful about the result and double check it to make sure all the result be the same as you expect. We have some other example, but maybe because of time limitation, we can use it on the another session and talk about it, because this reconciliation is a real problem for financial department and we need more time. Also, we need more time here. But before I stop and talk about it in the next session, I want you to think about it. In this example, we have the same database. We have these historical sales data, and we have these table. The problem is that customer ID become changed during the time. By changing, it's not rational in real world, but in real world, sometimes you face with unclear and messy database like this. Based on changing on the customer entity, their location, their owner, and these things, they change the ID of customer. So the customer C1, its ID becomes C7 after some time. It changed to C9 after some time. It's also changed to C13 after some time, and it changed during the time. Here we want to extract total sales per customer. So all the values related to C1, C7, C9, and C13 should be summed together. It's a little bit tricky. We will talk about it in next session, but now just spend time and think about it.
Perfect. That's great, Nick. This is great. Exactly same as the other videos and sessions we had. I love the way you use those, table rows to set the filter there, and the method you use to do the merge, but don't use the merge. Some tricks to add all the rows from the other table and then set the filter there. There are many use cases which you are limited to apply the merge, but you can answer those business questions by using these methods you showed us in this session. Thank you so much, Umi. Thank you, everyone, for joining us in this for this session. We will have more sessions. Actually, we will have another session to explain the remaining part of this session. And there are some other topics about Power Query, which we will cover during this learning series. Thank you so much, and see you maybe in 2 weeks for the Power Query. So,
if you have any question related to this session and other session, just post on the Wahid YouTube or LinkedIn. I'm there and can help you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's a good things you mentioned. You can add the comments, and I will transfer those comments to Omid. But you can find Omid on LinkedIn and directly send the message to him. I highly recommend to follow him. He raises many challenges every day, and many people attend to those challenges with super smart solutions. I learned a lot about from those challenges. Thank you so much, Omid, again, for running those challenges.
Thank you, Wahid. Thank you. See you next session.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Cheers.